Let's talk about the clueless confidence of Shane Morris. Earlier today, in a reaction video to Austin Archer complaining about the deluge of harassing comments he's been dealing with, falsely accusing him of participating in the Chorus Incubator program, Shane Morris had this to say.
Do you believe that Wired, a reputable outlet, would put themselves in jeopardy like this of being sued by publishing a lot of defamatory things? You believe the things you're saying right now? Well, there's a word for people like you. It's called sycophant. You know what a sycophant is? You are self-interested and you are looking out for other content creators because you want to show solidarity with them. You look like an asshole right now.
Now, there's a lot to unpack here, but let's start with this idea that I've seen a lot of people throwing around lately, that all of these content creators who are struggling to make ends meet can just up and sue Wired for defamation. Shane seems to think this would be pretty easy.
I'm going to tell y'all what I would have done if Wired or any other major media publication had published a false story about me. I would have gone to an attorney, immediately retained an attorney, and I said, I need a cease and desist sent to Wired or whatever this media outlet is that has published a false story about me, a false story about us, defamatory. Send a cease and desist and demand a retraction immediately. Because if you really got the cards, you're not worried. If the facts are on your side, you know in discovery and in a court of law, you will prevail. Objective truth is objective truth, no matter who's telling it.
One of the first things you find out when you try to pursue a defamation lawsuit is how staggeringly expensive it can be. This law firm requires an $8,500 retainer just to get started and estimates the total costs to range between $15,000 to $25,000. And that's on the low end. I know one plaintiff who sued a couple private citizens for defamation and spent an estimated $15,000 of his own money before even taking the case to trial. He recovered no damages or admissions of wrongdoing. All he was able to accomplish was bullying the defendants into signing a non-disparagement agreement. I know, because I was one of them. But if you want to go up against a billion-dollar juggernaut like Wired, the cost of litigation can easily run into the hundreds of thousands of dollars, and this process will take you years to fully play out. That's years of your life dealing with this nonsense. And that's because newspapers are notoriously difficult to sue. Thanks to the New York Times versus Sullivan case, in order for a public figure, which these content creators are, to prevail in court, you have to meet the actual malice standard. That means these creators would have to demonstrate that Wired knowingly published materially false information, not that they made a couple mistakes or insinuated something that wasn't true. I already made a video about how this Wired article's main problem is that it misleads readers through lies of omission. In it, I painstakingly detail how Taylor Lorenz does this in 6 different places in her article. Go check it out if you have 15 minutes to burn. So let's be real. You can't sue a newspaper for failing to provide important context to something that is technically true, even if it misleads readers into believing the opposite of the truth, as this article does. And that is to say nothing of the incredible difficulty of proving damages, material financial losses suffered. That's just another hurdle on top of all the other ones. So let's dispel this silly notion that defamation lawsuits against newspapers are a quick, easy, and painless way to get justice when they publish something that is false about you. It's not. And anyone who tells you otherwise is clueless. They don't know what they're talking about. Now let's get back to this other thing that Shane said.
Wired, a reputable outlet.
Okay, so Shane Morris thinks that Wired has some kind of vaunted reputation for fact-checking. Totally impenetrable. They can't possibly make any mistakes. Here's how good the Wired fact-checking department is. Earlier this year, they got conned into publishing an AI-generated article by a person that's not even real. That's how good Wired's fact-checking department is. Shane goes on to confidently state,
I believe there are probably multiple sources for that Wired article because they're not going to publish it with just one source. That's just not how things work.
Except that's how things work at Wired. That fake AI article they published in May contained multiple quotes from people who did not exist. They relied on one person, the person operating under a fake name who pitched them the article for everything. They even confessed that no alarms were raised in their correspondence with this person. In fact, the only way they even figured out the person they were dealing with was fake was when they had difficulty getting payment to them. Good job, Wired. So Shane Morris thinks very highly of Wired for some strange reason, and Taylor Lorenz, but he absolutely hates people who take money from billionaires.
And this is where I get on my soapbox and call you all out, because I don't know how many times y'all can get on this app and say, we're against the billionaires and we're fighting for the middle class. Yeah, but who are you getting your money from? Yeah, it seems a little disingenuous. It seems a little hypocritical when you need to get paid. The only people who can pay you are billionaires.
Okay, Shane, who were you just singing the praises of a minute ago?
Wired, a reputable outlet.
Wired Magazine, the company that bought and published this Taylor Lorenz article, is a subsidiary of Condé Nast, which is owned by Advance Publications. And Advance Publications is privately owned by the Newhouse family, the 13th richest family in America, worth over $24 billion. So Shane Morris thinks we can't trust content creators who allegedly received money from a billionaire without knowing it, while simultaneously telling us to put all our trust in a magazine owned by the 13th richest billionaire in America?
Yeah, it seems a little disingenuous. It seems a little hypocritical.
What's worse is in that very same video, Shane just got done explaining how
Taylor Lorenz is part of the Omidyar Network Reporters in Residence program, and it's a good program.
the Omidyar Network is a private foundation primarily funded by Pierre Omidyar, worth almost $11 billion. So Taylor Lorenz is on the payroll of not one, but two billionaires. And this doesn't give Shane any pause to wonder?
Taylor Lorenz is not the great evil you want her to be. She's a journalist, an independent journalist.
Shane clearly has a high opinion of Taylor Lorenz. He cannot stop singing her praises. Shane, what would you say to Shane about that?
Well, there's a word for people like you. It's called sycophant.
Taylor Lorenz is in a billionaire-funded fellowship that pays her an $8,000 monthly stipend, travel expenses, and access to staff and partners of this multi-billion-dollar foundation. And we're just expected to believe they want nothing in return? What do you think of that, Shane?
A lot of y'all are naive to this, and you believe that somebody would just pay you a lot of money for mentorship, for a fellowship. Get the fuck out of here.
So Shane is happy to criticize content creators for joining a paid fellowship, but when it comes to Taylor Lorenz's billionaire-funded fellowship,
The Omidyar Network Reporters in Residence program, and it's a good program.
so far the only sources of Taylor Lorenz's income that we even know about are directly from two billionaires. And Shane thinks,
I think the difference between us and them, and I mean them, the right wing, right? Them, they're the ones that get funded by billionaires. We're supposed to be the ones that fund ourselves, that are funded by the people.
I really can't fathom how someone can sit here and vociferously criticize one group of people for allegedly being paid by billionaires, while simultaneously defending a journalist who seemingly only gets paid by billionaires, one of them to the tune of $8,000 a month for doing nothing for them.
Yeah, it seems a little disingenuous. It seems a little hypocritical.
So what exactly does Shane Morris think of Taylor Lorenz anyway?
When the article came out, I sent her a couple DMs and said, hey, I'm really proud of you. You did the right thing here. You're speaking truth to power. I value your journalism. And I just showed her support generally.
Shane, what do you have to say to this guy?
You are being a sycophant and doing things that fascists do.
Shane, do you not have any criticism of billionaire-funded Taylor Lorenz?
I understand that there have been times in the past where she's a human being who's put her foot in her mouth and she's not a perfect journalist, and I'm fine with that.
Let's review those times she put her foot in her mouth, as you put it. The AP reports that in 2024, Lorenz posted a selfie on Instagram with Biden in the background and the caption, "War criminal." But then the New York Post criticized her for it, and she lied and claimed the photo had been doctored, saying, and I quote, "You people will fall for any dumbass edit someone makes."
And I'm fine with that.
Then NPR was able to authenticate the quote, catching her in the lie, and the Washington Post subsequently launched an internal review of her. 2 months later, she resigned in disgrace.
And I'm fine with that.
This is after she began her tenure at the Post by lying in one of her articles,
And I'm fine with that.
falsely claiming that she had reached out to two social media influencers for comment on a story, and that they declined to comment. Both individuals claimed that Taylor Lorenz only contacted them after the article was published.
And I'm fine with that.
What do you have to say about Taylor Lorenz's history of repeatedly lying while she was at the Washington Post, Shane?
Lord knows she's human. She's allowed to make mistakes, y'all.
Other Shane?
Well, there's a word for people like you. It's called sycophant.
So, when known liar, billionaire-funded Taylor Lorenz sells an article to billionaire-owned Wired magazine, a publication with a very recent history of failing to conduct basic fact-checking on an article they published, written by a journalist that doesn't even exist, and full of fake quotes from people who also don't exist, and she couldn't get one single source to go on the record for this article, but instead claims that 3 of the people she contacted declined to comment, and 9 of them simply didn't respond in time, the very thing she got caught lying about at the Washington Post. And then all of these people come out saying, this article is full of inaccuracies and misinformation. This is Shane Morris's hot take.
They would rather attack her rather than take accountability for the fact that they're taking money from billionaires.
Other Shane?
Yeah, it seems a little disingenuous. It seems a little hypocritical.
What else, Shane?
Well, there's a word for people like you. It's called sycophant.
Now, I tried to point some of these things out to Shane in the comment section of his videos, but rather than engage in a good faith dialogue or simply ignore my comments but leave them up for others to read and consider, Shane Morris couldn't even handle the discomfort of having someone point out his own mistakes and hypocrisy. So he apparently deleted my comments and then blocked me. Okay, fine. Shane is free to run from the truth and exercise his power to silence dissent. But I find this kind of behavior strange from someone who pontificates on things like this.
Because if you really got the cards, you're not worried. If the facts are on your side, you will prevail. Objective truth is objective truth, no matter who's telling it.
I don't even know what to say to that. But if I had anger management issues and I thought I was better than everyone else who dared to disagree with me, I would probably say something like this.
You look like an asshole right now.
You fucking disingenuous punk.
You're fucking embarrassing.
The Wizard's first rule. People are stupid. Given proper motivation, almost anyone will believe almost anything. Because people are stupid, they will believe a lie because they want to believe it's true, or because they're afraid it might be true. People's heads are full of knowledge, facts, and beliefs, and most of it is false, yet they think it all true. People are stupid. They can only rarely tell the difference between a lie and the truth, and yet they are confident they can, so are all the easier to fool.